right. Well, I had fun. No matter what the game. If 242's there, you're gonna have a good time.
You're gonna poke fun at things and point out things and almost scream at one point. That
Yeah.
one jump scare did get me. 100%.
Which one?
The one where you picked up the tape and the body was just there, and I was like, oh my god, it wasn't... Okay, for some reason I wasn't expecting that. I don't know why.
I don't know which one you're talking about, but I'll probably put a cut. Haha! You could have just given me the dang tape.
No, they can't.
She's close.
Jesus.
That was not Jesus. Good one, Locked Up.
Yeah.
You scared a horror narrator.
That's not that hard. I don't play very many horror games. There's a reason. I can do horror narrations quite easily. I can't do horror games very easily. I can do even horror movies easily, just not the games. And everyone wants me to play Dead Space. I'm gonna scream.
Because it's so scary?
It's got a lot of jump scares, since actually it is a very scary game, at least the first one.
Ah, I see.
It's actually a pretty good horror. It's a horror survival game. Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
You've never played a scary game. Rewind. You've never read a scary story that, like, scared you so bad that you couldn't sleep?
No.
Really? Wow.
Well,
you've done a lot of these.
Well, because I've had a lot that made me think, but not scare me that bad, because I go, this is a story. But for some reason, games are different. It's probably because I've played games since I was very, very little, so they're a little bit different, and I got more into reading as I got older, because I'm dyslexic, and reading was always very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I've been.
I've had a few stories that's just like...
that book tells stories, something you tell in the dark. Like, that book when I was a kid broke my brain. Like, I should not have been hearing these stories at that age.
I know which one you're talking about. I've actually never read them, but I've heard them. They're very good.
I wonder if they would still be scary now. You know, as an adult, as someone who's read a ton of these, if it would still be scary.
Might be because you read it as a kid, it might still get you.
I don't remember anything. I just remember the feeling of almost pooping my pants. That's the only...
The only horror book that I remember reading as a kid was Goosebumps #1, Dead House.
I don't remember if they scared me.
Well, it didn't scare me. It made me... It just creeped me out, and I thought it was a really cool idea. I think it was called Welcome to Dead House. And it was the first one in the Goosebumps series. I never read any of the other ones.
Why?
Again, reading was hard.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for a lack of want. It was just... I never picked up another one of those books. I've read, like, the odd book here and there, but it, again, was very hard and time-consuming for me to read. But one of the biggest ones that got me was Harry Potter and the Dresden Files. Got me really into reading. Yes. And I still read the Dresden Files to this day. He's still writing those, Jim Butcher.
Yes, he is. It's amazing.
I love those books. Oh my god, they're so good. He
quit at a few times, right? He was like, all right, this is it. I'm not going to do any more. But people are like, no, you're going to read. You're going to write more. We demand it. And he was like, all right, fine. Just like...
Well, I think he's always had the Dresden Files at a certain point where how many he wanted on that one. But I think it's the other series that he was thinking about quitting, because he did the Allandra series. Allandra? He did, which is a lot harder of a read than the Dresden Files. It's like college level reading. It's actually very difficult to get through. Once you get it though, it's a very good story. Best way to sum it up, Pokemon at the Fall of Rome.
Wow, what?
Yeah, that was what his original idea was based off of.
Whoa.
If you read it, it's really, really good. And then he's doing the Spiral series, which is a steampunk series, and he's done one book for that one so far. But the Dresden Files is supposed to have 20 files and 3 apocalypse stories.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, no, it's really well written. He's a very good author, and he definitely deserves more. And I love the Dresden Files. And he's a wizard in modern day Chicago
Yeah.
who's a PI.
I mean, it's hard to not love that. I think that was the first book that I've ever gotten into. I tried reading Neverwhere as my first book, but it just, I don't know. There was just too much, in my opinion. Calm down if you're a fan. It's just my opinion. I would try to read it again because now I kind of understand the kind of mindset.
It wasn't probably a good introductory to
Yes.
the genre. There are certain
Yes.
books that are better for the introduction to a genre, and some books are just better once you're in the genre.
Yes.
And I think Dresden Files, because he starts so little, it becomes very much of the normal world before it starts going more into the supernatural world. So you've got your feet planted and you understand how the world works, and then he slowly starts revealing how the underworld works, basically, the fantasy world.
Oh my god. You got, that's exactly it. That's exactly what it was. It was just too much too fast.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So yeah, no, totally, really good series. Anyone who is looking at trying to get into a fantasy series, Dresden File by Jim Butcher.
Fantasy, yeah. Super good. I'm at White Knight. I just keep dropping off, which is so perfect with his series because he does that whole recap thing every time. Perfect for me.
The one you really want to get to is Changes. That's when things start really, a lot of stuff comes out of it starts to ramp up about there, and that's where the stakes start getting way higher. And I absolutely love Queen Mav. She is one of my favorite characters ever made, and I would never want to deal with her because she would kill me. Oh my god.
Very easily, yes.
Oh yes. And a lot of stuff actually just came out about her too, and a lot more about the Fae, and you actually get to learn a lot more about why she's so cold and stuff. So there's some character development, especially in the last book. There's a lot more character development for her, and you start to kind of see Dresden definitely is over his head, and he's finally starting to see some backlashes from some of the choices he made down the road, and it's starting to come to a head now, some of these choices.
All right.
I'm just going to entice you to read more. Duh.
I'm already sold. You don't have to you don't have to sell the series to me. I love it. Oh man, I love that you love the Dresden Files.
Another person who really loves the Dresden Files is Seraphine, the Midnight Bard.
Of course.
Yeah, that's why.
Of course.
Yes, he's great. Me and him like all the time. I just saw that someone posted a story, Hell's Bells, and I wanted to post it. If it's not about the Dresden Files, I don't care. Because that is his catchphrase. I don't care about anything else. Yeah, no, it's really good series, well worth it, and all his other series are really good too. I read all of the Elandra series, and it's 6 books. It's not an easy read. And then his steampunk one, which I can't remember the name of, is really good, and it's not a difficult read. So it's about the same level as Dresden is. But yeah.
I went from the Dresden Files to what was it? I feel like it's the Tales of Earthsea or something like that.
I think I've heard of that. I haven't read it.
It's multiple books, and they're not short.
That's fair.
It was amazing. I would absolutely recommend it, but I can't really say that much about it. Because it's written so beautifully that it's like reading really complex poetry. It's like, that looks nice. It has a nice rhythm. a nice rhythm to it. But what did you just say?
Okay, I get that. Yeah, you can only do so much because you have to, when you read poems, you have to dissect what you're reading, and it takes a lot more work to do that. Because again, when you're writing poems, you're trying to rhyme. So when you're trying to rhyme, you're using more obscure words that people don't use. The one that I read that really like made me just shake my head was The Raven by Allan Poe, or by Poe, and he used words even for his day were weird, like plutonium shore, and it just means night. That's what it meant. And I'm like, and he said like 3 times, and I'm like, plutonium shore? Pluton? Like, why are we going to Pluto? What?
Right, Pluto? I didn't know they had beaches.
Yeah, so it just means night. That's what it meant, but he used it because it was more poetic, had more flavor to it. Really good story, and you kind of get to see that he's going into madness and sadness as you read it. And yeah, very good poet. Definitely wasn't as well received in his time as he should have been, but
yeah,
that's a lot. Like same with not that he was a great guy, Lovecraft. He was not very well liked in his time.
No, he wasn't.
But he was very racist. Even for his time, he was very racist. But he was in a bubble, and if you weren't pasty white and from his neck of the woods, then you were a foreigner and scary. So, and he did not have the constitution for math or science. And it shows in some of his writing.
But you would think that it would be necessary in the type of books. But you'd have to have some kind of science.
He must have had more constitution than he realized, because he went on and explained how an air conditioner worked in great detail, because they were brand spanking new back then, and used that as a story idea. Now we know the problem is, same with Frankenstein, we know too much about science that we know that his story is improbable. It wouldn't happen that way. Same with Frankenstein, there was a lot of like not Frankenstein, Dracula, where there was a lot of blood fusion and giving people blood,
right.
But we now know that type matters, but they didn't back then, and so it takes from the lore, takes away from it, because we know more about science now. But if you take that into the context that they didn't understand that at the time, you can go, okay, well, this is a really cool idea. Frankenstein had its own problems too, for similar reasons, just didn't understand the science back then, but it's still really a cool idea to bring back the dead and then leave your monster because they're not pretty and abandon them, and then promise to make them a bride, and then decide, wait, 2 monsters is probably not a good idea, and then back out of it.
Oops.
Yeah, the monsters just wanted someone to be with them. They wanted someone like them. And he's like, well, what if they don't like each other? What if they decide that they want to kill everyone? Blah, 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 blah. So he just, he totally brought everything onto himself. Completely, like, Frankenstein was not the good guy in any way. The monster was actually a very nice, gentle being and was not bad. It's just, his daddy left him and he kind of went a little crazy.
I mean, it's sort of like a toddler. Well, a 2-year-old.
Exactly.
A 2-year-old who has muscles and is very dangerous.
And very scary looking and doesn't understand things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that one still relates today, so I can see why that story still sticks around.
I feel like you would, knowing the backstory of the writer, of the author, that helps in a huge way of understanding why they chose the things that they chose and how they portray different characters in the story and maybe the setting. Yep. Also, do you agree?
Yes, because you're supposed to write what you know. Now, you don't know it in great detail, but you do need to know what you're writing. So, yeah, so people like to do themes that they are enjoying. Christmas Carol, the reason he wrote that was because he was tired of people being greedy on Christmas. Apparently that actually shaped how we celebrate Christmas now. That book had a great impact, and the funny part is the book he wrote before it, no one knows of, and he thought that would be his crowning achievement. And it was actually The Christmas Carol that was his crowning achievement.
What was the first one?
I can't remember the name of it. Like, it's not a book anyone's read. It was not good, apparently. It was actually really bad.
Oh, wow.
But his what's the word? Publisher told him that if he wrote a book and it bombed again, he would get a pay cut of $50 a month, which is like $6,000 in modern money.
Back then, yeah.
So he decided in 6 weeks, he wrote A Christmas Carol.
If that isn't motivation.
Yeah. And when you think of Christmas, it's one of the few things that definitely comes to mind. Christmas Carol, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is now a big one.
Yeah.
Some of the songs come to mind, but he really shaped like the getting together and spending time together, and give to the poor and the needy, and that was all him and that story, and showing that greediness doesn't help and all this stuff. So
I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
That was Christmas Carol. I've only seen Wonderful Life.
No, I know.
Couple times. Actually, it's one of my dad's favorite movies of all time. But I don't really I don't enjoy it. I find it too meh. Because it's about a guy who decides that his life isn't worth living, so he wants to go kill himself, and then basically it's A Christmas Carol, except the opposite, where the angel comes and shows him what the world would be like without him, and he realizes he had a bigger impact than he ever realized. And then he comes back and he's all alive again, and do you know when you hear a bell that angels get their wing? That's like the end line. Yeah, I've seen it way too many times.
Yeah, I thought you said you hadn't seen it. Oh no, you said you saw it, but you didn't like it.
Yes. I've seen it. I said I've seen it a couple times. I'm like, no, it's been more than a couple times. I've seen it a lot. My dad's favorite movie, yeah, I've seen it a ton. He would put it on every Christmas and watch it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think we owned it in VHS, DVD, and HD.
Wow. Yeah, you gotta switch up.
You gotta upgrade every time.
You gotta upgrade it.
Yep. And it's a black and white movie from like 1950s, 1940s, somewhere around there. So everyone in it's dead. That's actually
my god.
That's actually what's goes through my head when I think of stuff like that. Everyone in it's dead now.
There were children in there too.
Yeah, I know, but they're probably dead.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Christmas. 42 is a downer.
Welcome to the Locked Up gameplay.
42 is good at downing you. Welcome.
Are you feeling happy, folks?
Not when I'm
Not
done with you.
Not for long. Hug your family. No.
Fuck Christmas. God. Fuck your happiness. Let me make you see reality. Everyone in that story's dead. Everyone in that video is dead.
Oh god.
Well, I watched like really old video, like one of the first videos ever made, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. But at the same time, no one that was in that is still alive anymore, and that's kind of a crazy thought. That there's gonna be stuff out there after we're gone, and it's just like, that's cool, but also really weird.
That's why I always use 4K definition on my videos.
So it can survive time.
Yeah, so it'll last longer. No, I don't do it for all of my videos. Just for
certain
shorter ones. Yeah.
Well, it takes a lot of freaking memory. Oh my god.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I think I do mine in 70p or something like that. I don't know what I put mine in. I don't do HD. It's too much.
It's a lot. Even your shorts?
Even my shorts, there's no point. Like they're not videos. They just got like they're pictures with the story being told over. I don't need to use all your data for that.
Yeah. That's one short is the equivalent of the memory for what? Two 15-minute videos.
Yeah, no, they're quite. Oh my god, they're like I think I did one video in HD, and it was a full one, and I was like,
oh.
Oh
shoot.
my god, that's too big. So I never ever did again.
I have an external hard drive.
So do
Like,
I.
there's no way I could do it just with with what the computer comes with. It would explode.
They'd be like, kill me. I actually have 2 hard drives in my computer and then an external.
Yeah, same. Dudette.
It's fine. Dude is pretty much a non-gendered thing now.
Right? Before it was weird.
And now it's just normal.
Now it's like standard. Times.
Yeah, they be changing. They be changing.
They be changing. What was on your they be 2021 242. Things be changing.
242. Things be changing. And you know what? Things are always be changing. If they don't, that's not good. Stagnation leads to bad.
Shrug emoji.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there would be a shrug emoji.
Yes.